They call it Flamingo. It sounds almost comical, even gentle, a bright pink bird that you might see wading in shallow waters. But make no mistake, this so-called Flamingo could become the deadliest missile Ukraine has ever unleashed, and perhaps the turning point of the entire war. Over the last 2 years, we've seen countless headlines about weapons flowing into Ukraine: Western artillery, HIMARS rocket systems, German Leopards, British Storm Shadows, American Patriots. Every few months, the media hypes a new game-changer. And yet the brutal conflict drags on, with Russia digging in and Ukraine grinding forward. Skeptics ask, can any single weapon really shift the balance? But here's what they don't tell you. For the first time, Ukraine isn't just depending on Western shipments, it's building its own arsenal. Long-range, heavy-hitting missiles made entirely inside the country. And now, a new weapon is ready to enter the fight: the Flamingo FP5 cruise missile. According to the Ukrainian defense company Firepoint, which has already been producing combat drones used to strike deep into Russian territory, the Flamingo is no prototype. It has entered serial production. Their CEO, Irina Terek, claims they're gearing up to manufacture as many as 200 missiles per month. That's not a trickle. That's industrial-scale firepower produced on Ukrainian soil, beyond the reach of Western political delays. So what exactly is this missile? Terek says the Flamingo can carry a warhead weighing 1,150 kilograms, more than 2,500 pounds, while flying as far as 3,000 kilometers into Russian territory. That's farther than almost any weapon Ukraine currently possesses. And unlike imported systems, it was designed and built entirely by Ukrainians in less than 9 months, moving from concept to successful battlefield tests at a speed that would make most Pentagon contractors blush. Its origins are almost accidental. The first units rolled off the line with a bizarre paint error. The nose cone came out a vivid pink. Soldiers on the ground laughed and called it Flamingo. The name stuck. But the weapon itself is no joke. Imagine a missile that could reach Moscow, St. Petersburg, or even Russia's oil and gas facilities deep in Siberia, all while delivering a payload heavy enough to cripple infrastructure in a single strike. Defense analyst Fabian Hoffman describes the Flamingo as Ukraine's greatest security guarantee. He argues that if Kyiv can build and deploy between 3,000 and 5,000 of these missiles or similar ones, it could hold up to 25% of Russia's economic production at risk. In other words, Russia's aggression would no longer be sustainable. Hoffman even goes so far as to suggest that this could eventually force Russia to withdraw, not through negotiations, but through sheer economic devastation. But let's pause here. Because Western media rarely emphasize this, they prefer to frame Ukraine as helplessly dependent on NATO shipments. Yet the truth is more complicated. Ukraine is fast becoming a missile-producing power in its own right. Alongside the Flamingo, Kyiv is already using the Long Neptune, an extended-range version of the missile that sank Russia's Black Sea flagship, the Moskva. Rumors suggest that Long Neptunes have already struck oil facilities in Tuapse and Oxenino earlier this year. And then there's the Sapsam, a homegrown ballistic missile that has reportedly passed its first combat tests. Taken together, these systems show a different picture. Ukraine is not just defending itself, it's reinventing its defense industry in real time. For decades, post-Soviet Ukraine struggled with corruption, stagnation, and dependency on foreign aid. But the war has lit a fire under its industrial base. The world expected Ukraine to collapse under Russia's assault. Instead, it is designing, producing, and fielding advanced missiles faster than many NATO countries could dream of. And let's be honest, the symbolism matters too. For Ukrainians, the Flamingo isn't just a missile, it's proof that they can stand on their own. As Terek herself put it, we founded our company in response to Russian aggression. But we are not aggressors. We are ready to defend our sovereignty. She insists that while ordinary Ukrainians want results, some even dream of seeing Red Square in flames, her company isn't in the business of terror. The goal is deterrence, to make Russia's war effort impossible to sustain. But think about what that really means. If Ukraine can mass-produce hundreds of long-range missiles every month, Russia's heartland is no longer safe. Oil refineries, power plants, bridges, ports, targets that once seemed untouchable could now be within reach. For the Kremlin, this isn't just a military problem, it's a political nightmare. Vladimir Putin has spent years convincing Russians that the war is far away, that life in Moscow can carry on as normal. If flamingos start raining down on critical infrastructure, that illusion collapses. And this is where history offers lessons. During World War II, the Allies realized that hitting Germany's industrial heart, the Ruhr Valley, the oil fields, the transportation hubs, was more decisive than grinding battles at the front. In Vietnam, American B-52 campaigns tried to bomb Hanoi into submission, though the political calculus backfired. In both cases, industrial and civilian resilience mattered just as much as military strength. If Ukraine's flamingos can hit Russian industries while the Kremlin struggles to shield its population from the truth, the psychological impact could be massive. Still, there are risks. Every escalation raises the specter of Russian retaliation. Putin has already threatened to use all means necessary if he feels Russia's core territory is under existential threat. Could long-range Ukrainian strikes push him closer to that edge? Perhaps. But we should also ask, hasn't Russia already crossed nearly every red line itself? It has targeted Ukraine's power grid, leveled cities like Mariupol and Bakhmut, and unleashed wave after wave of missile terror against civilians. Against that backdrop, Ukraine striking back at military and economic infrastructure deep inside Russia is not escalation, it's survival. And there's another angle Western audiences often overlook. By developing indigenous weapons, Ukraine sidesteps the geopolitical bargaining that has plagued its war effort. How many times have we seen debates in Washington, Berlin, or London drag on for months before aid is approved? Tanks delayed, jets debated, long-range missiles withheld. Each delay costs lives. But if Ukraine can build its own stockpile at scale, it breaks free from that cycle of dependency. It puts its destiny in its own hands. So where does this leave us? Right now, Ukraine stands on the cusp of unleashing weapons powerful enough to paralyze Russia's war machine. The Flamingo, the Long Neptune, the Sapsan, these are not symbolic gadgets. They are strategic tools designed to level the playing field or even tilt it in Ukraine's favor. Whether they succeed depends on production capacity, targeting intelligence, and Russia's ability or inability to adapt. But the potential is real, and maybe that's why the Flamingo matters so much. Not because of its pink nose cone or its quirky nickname, but because it represents the possibility of a genuine turning point. For 2 years, Ukrainians have been told to hold on, to survive, to wait for the West. Now, with their own missiles, they have the power to strike back, not just at the front lines, but at the very foundations of Russian power. So let me ask you, could the Flamingo really change the course of this war? Could a pink-tipped missile, built in secret workshops under constant bombardment, be the weapon that forces the Kremlin to face reality? Or will it simply escalate the destruction, dragging both nations deeper into catastrophe? Either way, one thing is certain: Ukraine is no longer fighting with borrowed tools. It is forging its own arsenal, and the world should take notice. If you want to dive deeper into how Putin's massive summer offensive has collapsed, check out our latest video. It breaks down exactly how Russia's war plan fell apart on the battlefield. Or, if you're curious about another one of Ukraine's most ingenious new weapons, watch our analysis of the jet-powered Mongoose interceptor drone. And don't forget, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and stay with us as we uncover the hidden truths and breaking stories from the front lines of the world's most consequential war. Because the battle isn't just for territory, it's for the future of Europe, and maybe the world.